YouTube, it's Petey Two Finger here, and today I wanted to talk about one of the things that I like to keep my eye out whenever I'm out garbage picking or resale shopping. Now, the area that we live in an area where there's apartment buildings, 4 units in each building. It's affordable, but all of the surrounding areas, and especially the surrounding towns, are really high tax bracket, really high income. As a matter of fact, Burr Ridge was #1 per capita, like the richest town in the United States. So my point is, I'm not bragging that I live in such a nice neighborhood. Where we live is not very nice, but the point is my resale stores in my area here, and like if I go garbage picking, and I haven't been able to do that simply because of my back. They used to have this amnesty day. We would go and get all kinds of stuff. But the point is, if I go to a resale store like out in Kankakee where my brother lives, it's kind of depressing. They don't have much. But all of the resale stores in our area tend to have a lot of electronics. You can find sometimes musical equipment. It's just nicer stuff. So that explains why often you'll hear me going on and on about all of this wonderful stuff that I get for like $2.99. And I'm not making it up. It's just because of where we live is really excellent reselling. Now, back to the point. This is one thing you can get just about anywhere, and you really want to keep your eye out for these. This is a computer switch box, I'll call it. Usually you have a knob on here. I removed that knob and I removed the chassis screws. But you never know what you're going to find on the back. This one has like VGA style ports. Sometimes they'll have big parallel like printer jack, big thing. You never know what the back is going to be, but I like to, number one, you pop these open, you can get this real nice rotary switch. That was, if you watched the video yesterday, I was going, what's that switch called? Rotary switch. These are not cheap, expensive switch. So you can, really the main thing is copying this wire and then the chassis. So first I'm going to show you some of the things I've repurposed into these. This is an EQ, so you got volume, treble, mid-range bass, and then a power switch. There's an LED. This is a pedal power supply. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 LEDs. Inside of this is a, well, let's talk about the back first, shall we? There's a fuse and a 3-prong power jack, because that's properly grounded. So inside of this is a small laptop power brick that I stripped. I cut the plastic off of it and used automotive epoxy to glue the shield, the aluminum shield, down to the base of this box. And then coming out of the output, I fused it, and then I run it to a pair of 7809, which are 1 amp maximum current voltage regulators. So this puts out 9 volts out of each port. And there's 2 of them, so that they are each 1.5 amp, so it's 3 amps worth of pedals you could power off of this. Long and short of it is, this device, using daisy chain cables, I powered a huge pedal board, huge, off of this, with really no issues. Now the thing is, I don't have very many digital pedals on that board. I have one Moore Ocean machine, which is a dual echo reverb, and that kind of explains why I just don't have many other digital devices on there. They're mostly, you know, EQs, fuzzes, distortions, tremolo. So yeah, this was a really fun one-day project, and I got a nice little power supply out of the deal. And that's the thing that always kills me about these electronic projects, is buying the chassis is so expensive. Now, if you pay attention, you see they come in different sizes. And here's a King Daddy unit. This is a little bit wider even. This has a nice handle on top. This is a 100 watt Class D guitar amp with a circuit in it that's called a runoff groove tone mender. So we have gain, bass, mid-range, treble, and a volume knob. Master power, 10mm, blue LED. The 1 and 2 switch shifts the high frequencies. And then WLTL LaGrange, that's the radio station in the high school where I went. I did graduate from high school, and I took electronics, but I didn't learn anything. The teacher told me I didn't have to do any of the homework because I explained to him where I was at. He said, just bring in whatever you want to fix, I'll help you fix it. And as long as you ace the test, I won't make you do the homework. But as soon as you get a B on one of the tests, you're going to have to start doing homework. So that turned out to be kind of not very good because I didn't really learn anything. But he was the football coach. Now, this one has a 2 to 3 amp fuse. Here's the input. There is a DC 2.1 mil power input. It says plus. The polarity's marked on here, so it's center hot. Plus 6 to 26 volts DC. And on the output, we have 2, 4, 6, or 8 ohm speaker on the output here. 1 amp or 3 amp fuse, anything in there will work. And then I just used some hockey tape to patch up over the holes. You can, what I would recommend if you really want to get goofy with it, it would be you would masking tape that over that, and then on the inside patch it over with some automotive epoxy, JB Weld, and then peel that off. And then you could actually sand that and paint it, and you could patch those holes. So that's some of the devices that I've made. We have a favorite here that comes into play whenever I'm working. You'll see this if you stick around. You'll see this. We call this beep beep cant. No, beep beep cant is that means give me a meter set on continuity. This is the beep beep, yeah, or the bitches box. Bitches love my switches. So that guy, what's his name again? He has a band or a one-man recording project, and his music is exceptional. Really good stuff. Check his stuff out. But this company also sells stop switches and all kinds of little accessories like knobs, LEDs, the stuff that you need when you build a guitar pedal. So this contest, yeah, there's a couple of 1/4-inch jacks and then a speaker out on it. And you just hit that switch where there's a momentary, there's a volume connector, a volume pot, and then a range for low volume, high volume. And this just produces a tone. So when I build a pedal and it doesn't work, I don't have to sit there and crang, hit the guitar, and then come over and fiddle with it while the guitar's dying out. I can just hook this up and it constantly produces a tone, and I can work on it and get it going. So using this in conjunction with an audio probe, which I'll probably be doing another video on that. You use this, and then the probe plugs into an amp. And you go through and you can kind of troubleshoot your circuit and see where the problem lies. So this is an invaluable tool. And I'll tell you what, once we made this, I use it for all kinds of stuff. Not necessarily for making music, but just a ton of stuff. So that is just a few of the contraptions. We've got a bunch more of the amplifiers in here. But today I'm going to be working on using a little bit smaller box. What did I do? This is like a watch box or something. So I'm going to put a 1 in, 2 out. I might do it 1, 2, 3. I don't know. And then there'll be a battery. So the circuit I'm going to build in here is a signal splitter, and it's a real simple. It just splits the signal into 2, so I can run 2 amps. And I could use this chorus pedal. I was going to use that, and then I thought, you know what? I might as well build the circuit because it uses a lot less power, and it might cost me $1 in parts, but every battery I put into that costs me $1, and it's really bad for the environment. So stay tuned. The next video I put out is going to be on that. And then if you want to see this, I'll show you how we go through and remove the wires here. I've got a fan running, so if you see any of the fumes kind of rapidly blow away, that's because I'm using a fan instead of a proper extraction tool. But like these here, you know, they're it looks like, oh my goodness, this would take you an hour to do this. But once you kind of get in a rhythm, it goes actually really pretty quickly. So these, I guess what I could do is, when I get done with this row, I will try to completely pull one out so you can see how long it is. So I think this is the oranges that I already did on the other side. Nope. Yeah. So these wires here, I use these when I build pedals. They're a little bit thin, and if you, my only complaint about using these is if let's say I don't trim them, I use the existing pre-tinned section. As I doubt you can see, but you can imagine there's some pre-prep, pre-tinned wire, and that, if let's say I just go ahead and build the pedal and solder those in there, and then I have a problem and I end up moving this pedal around for a week or so, I'm have, many troubleshooting sections, the wire will crack because it's thin wire. So I find sometimes if I'm concerned or I know I'm going to be moving it around a lot, I will actually take my snips and cut that non-virginal end off. So it's actually, it almost seems like you just as well could come through here and snip all these off. But I'm not going to do that because I like having them already pre-prepped. And you should see if you go through with this, if you pick one of these up and remove all the wire from it, how much you actually end up with. It's a good amount of wire. It is a surprising amount of wire that comes out of one of these. And once you get into the swing of removing them, and you can lay the iron across a whole section, it's kind of sloppy work. I mean, the jack ends up looking pretty trashed from me just mass applying this heat. And now I went and screwed this one up, but yeah, in the last 30 seconds here, I was able to do two of them, two complete jacks. So if I kind of keep running my mouth here, I can keep you guys from not redexing out on this until I can get it unsoldered completely from the switch box. And then, because that's really the way that I like to do it. First I will remove the wire. To be honest with you, normally how I do this, I will remove the jacks from the chassis. So the jacks are flopping around, and then that makes it kind of easier to get at these solder points. It's a lot easier, as a matter of fact. Today I'm actually short on wire. I kind of ran out. So my goal here is to quickly go through this thing and get all the wire I possibly can. So now that I've got four, five, there was one row. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 more rows. So what you want to do is grab a whole row, so you can pull on that, and you start at the one you can see. That'll reveal another one, and you just kind of boop, 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 go right down the line, and there you go. Now here, this one looks like somehow is burnt from bad technique. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and when I get to those orange wires, I'm going to have to prep them on one side, but it really isn't the end of the world. I mean, you can also just go on eBay and buy yourself pre-tinned, pre-cut pieces of wire. Just pay attention to your measurements, because one day I got millimeters and centimeters confused, and I ordered some, and what I received was a whole bag full of like 8 or 9 millimeter wires, and it wasn't cheap. I paid like $10 for this thing, and I kind of had to eat that. So, c'est la vie. And we're actually, speaking of life, this is anyone still here, or has everyone moved on to watch cat videos? Oh, and now I see how I'm burning the other wires. I'm getting in such a hurry that the iron is touching. So yeah, that one, not the best. But this, I find this wire, you know, it's really easy to work with, and it fits in the holes in the Vero, the strip board that we use when we build pedals, and the PCBs. It fits really well. It's like perfect size, but at the same time, I would like it to be a little thicker. So that's something interesting. I would like to figure out what gauge this is and see what do most people use when you learn how to build pedals properly. Is it 22 gauge wire? Is that what, quote unquote, they, meaning the pros, techs, and experts, will tell you to buy? Because here, I don't always do what everyone else does, simply because I found doing it this way to work out better for me. Now this, doing it this way, the problem with that is you need to be A, living in an area where there's decent resale, and B, going to the resale store often. Because I can tell you, we have a good collection of not only devices we built into these, but boxes that are in the other room waiting to be turned into, to be used for their chassis. I pretty much have all the wires removed out of them. I think I'd have to really look, but to be honest, with the amount of wire that we got today, this is going to go in a wire bag, and there it will sit. So, you know where that wire bag is, honey? The one that I use when I build pedals?
It's where it goes.
Which is in the other room?
Correct.
So I wouldn't be able to get it, right?
Correct.
All right, well, I'm going to wrap this one up because I'm getting a feeling it's probably about 20 minutes long. And here is the bundle of wire that we got out of that. So you can see it's a pretty good amount. We got yellow, red, orange, green, and white. And then there is this chassis, which honestly I will at another date. Oh, and I got 4 rubber feet. Pretty cool. At another date, I will more than likely go through there, and when I need this box, I will remove some of those. And you know what? You could leave some of them in. You know, that's one thing. So, and here's our big honkin', and I have actually repurposed one of these. All right, you guys, I'll see you soon with the signal splitter. I'm going to be putting that one together today, so we'll shoot a video for that too. All right, good thoughts, good words, good deeds, and peace.